the Everything But Politics podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to this 133rd edition of the Everything But Politics podcast. With us today is chef and actor, best known for his role as Vito on The Sopranos, Joe Gannascoli. Welcome to the podcast, brother. It is great to finally meet you.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks, guys.
Welcome.
It's our honor. So, Joe, I want to learn more about you, your life. Obviously, an incredible acting career, but you're from Brooklyn, going way back to your upbringing in Brooklyn. Tell us about that. What was your life like with your parents, siblings, the whole upbringing?
Yikes. We're doing the whole 9 yards here, huh?
Let's do it.
Well, yeah, so I grew up in Brooklyn, Gravesend, Brooklyn. Not an extraordinary upbringing, regular guy. Just wanted to play ball on the street, go to school. Grew up around wise guys, I guess you could say. And, I was always told stay away from that lifestyle, which I did. But I was still around it and went to the places they went to, and so I knew about them. After high school, tried a little college, went to St. John's. I think I lasted about 6 months. I don't know, a year. Wasn't for me. Bounced around some jobs with friends and wound up working in a French kitchen in Manhattan.
And that was your first culinary experience, yes?
Yes. I was told that you could learn on your own or go to school, and I chose to learn on my own.
Okay.
So I bounced around different kitchens in New York and wound up in New Orleans when I was 21. I worked in one of the most famous restaurants in the country, Commander's Palace, for 3.5 years.
And of all of the
Very nice.
different restaurants that you worked at, where did you have the most fun and what was the best experience?
Well, the best experience would probably be New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, you're like a grunt. You're not having much fun.
Yeah.
You're doing the shit work, prepping, and then you're learning on your own, and you're trying to learn and trying to be taught and trying to absorb, and it's hard work. Restaurants suck. Restaurant business.
Well, you said that you mentioned your parents and your people in your upbringing wanted you to steer clear of whatever was going on in the streets. What was that alternative for you? You mentioned ball, culinary came a little later. What were you doing in your teen years?
Just Brooklyn kid stuff, I guess 17, 18, going to clubs, hanging out. I playing ball, played hockey, staying out of trouble, for the most part, and just trying to figure things out.
At what point in your life did you, fall in love with acting in that world?
Well, truthfully, my first love is really cooking. I don't know if I ever fell in love with acting. It's fun to do. It's not, I shouldn't say it's not easy, but you can't always get the work. That's the problem is, a lot of people want to be actors or to act. And, you get off with a lot of stupid stuff that will never be seen. But I was in the right place, right time, and I did a lot of hustling to, further my acting career, further my cooking career. Did it on my own, self-taught actor also. So
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm happy you mentioned hustling because I know that you represented yourself as your own agent. How did you even find yourself in those shoes?
Well, that's the Brooklyn in me. You know what I mean? The hustle.
Hmm.
So I was actually my manager, um, and I would be submitting myself for auditions and call up pretending to be my manager to talk to casting directors to get auditions. And I thought my agent wasn't really pushing me, so I only had one client myself, and that was sort of an acting challenge in itself, and that's what I did.
Was that your first real sales experience?
Selling.
Selling yourself.
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say so. Well, I mean, cooking too. I kind of like talked my way into restaurants, saying, I'll work for nothing. I just want to learn. I don't care what I do, and if you're not a total fuck up, I mean, who's not going to hire you?
No kidding. So you had your first experience on The Sopranos in episode 8 of season 1 as Gino. Why do you believe that David Chase wrote you back into the show as Vito?
I believe that it had to do with um, Georgianne Walken, casting director.
Okay.
Uh, Earlier, I was in a couple of movies that she cast with help from Benicio del Toro, who I became friends with. From the first movie I did in LA, I lived in LA for 4 years. But our scenes weren't together, but he wrote a film and produced and directed it, and he made me the lead. And it was me, Matthew McConaughey. And I think that she saw me in those, or maybe she didn't see me in those. I got in her movies, and she wanted to meet me because I was in her movies without being, auditioned or cast. And they were minor roles, but they were Abel Ferrara was like a New York director, guerrilla style, and so I think that's how she called me in, and she said, asked me if I had an agent, and I said no. She said to keep in touch every few months. If something's right, we'll bring in, and so that's how I got cast as Gino. And then probably they just needed a fat Italian bastard, to come in and so I fit that role, and that's it.
And prior to becoming Vito, how long were you grinding as a aspiring actor?
Um, did a few roles in L.A., but I hated L.A. And I got back to New York, and I managed a couple more in New York. Um, there was one called On the Run with Artie Bucco and Christopher, John Ventimere, and Michael Imperioli. Um, yeah, so a couple of years, I guess.
And
This was
go ahead, Mark.
this was in the 1990s, late 80s.
90s, 90s. I think I worked on Sopranos 97. I went to LA in 90. So 3, 4 years, 94, 95. I got a lead in a movie like called Blowfish. So it took me a couple of years, I guess.
And so when you first are Gino in season one, the show was it what it was it has it scaled to that point, or was it still a first season show? No one really knew yet what it was to become.
Yeah, so obviously it didn't air when we shot it.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't even sure I wanted to do it. And I told her, and she said, "You don't even have an agent. Um, Make sure you do this." And I guess the first season it was like kind of a cult following. And my friends were all on it, most of them. And then I watched my episode, and it was pretty cool to be in it. By the second year, I think more people were like, "Wow, this show was great,"
Yeah,
especially in my
that's
neighborhood,
great. It is great. And
Yeah,
we're Evan and we're like the generation that watched it during COVID, right? We were young kids when it was coming out. Didn't watched it like that summer of 2020, like many
right.
other 20 somethings at that time. So it's my favorite show I've ever seen. I mean, the acting, the storyline, everything about it's just so terrific.
I was at a party last night in what is it called? El Cantata, El
El
Cantera.
Camino.
No, not El Camino. It's a gated community. This guy has my vodka, and he was having a house party watching the basketball game.
Mm.
And had two sons, and their friends were over, and they all flipped. I mean, they all like loved the show. They're like 15, 16, 17.
That's
Yep.
crazy.
You know?
My
Yeah.
one buddy
So
is watching it right now, and he's on like the final season, and he just loves it. It's just special how a series could last that long and just continue to be repeated for people who have never seen it before.
yeah, it's those shows that like everybody watches. But when you're in your dorm and your college, and you know, you get hooked on a series. It's Breaking Bad and The Wire, but Sopranos is always their favorite, and they watch it and they love it. Because their parents watch it, they weren't allowed, so now they're allowed. Most kids watch it now, 14, 15, especially when it's all over TikTok and
Yep.
Instagram. There's always scenes and memes and stuff like that. So they see that and they go, "I got to watch this. This looks cool."
And so, what is it like being known as Vito rather than Joe? Do you take pride in that, or do you ever get sick of it?
I don't get sick of it. Um, I meet a lot of fans and people are nice for the most part,
Yeah.
unless they're a jerk off. And sometimes they're a little tanked up and they get a little stupid. But I always ask them if they want to take a picture. I take the camera. I do the selfie thing. People don't want to be, they're like embarrassed. They don't want to impose. And to me, it's no big deal. They're big fans and they love a picture. So I always ask, "You want to take a picture?" So it's kind of great. I mean, listen, I'm part of history.
Yes.
I'm very proud. I came from a very small part, um, a couple of lines into being part of the show and then having a major role on the show. So,
Absolutely.
What's it like for you in your personal life as later season's coming out and your key storyline is you and Vito's homosexual phase. What is that like in your personal life after the fact as more people know you and recognize your face?
well, mm, being in the restaurant business, especially Manhattan in the early mid 80s, 90s, New Orleans, there's a lot of gays. I worked in a total gay restaurant. It was me, the chef, and this other cook, Danny, from the Bronx. Were the only straight guys, which was cool. They were all nice. And, me, I always felt like, hey, more girls for me. I don't care. Um, you do your thing, I do mine. And they always brought like girls into the kitchen to meet us. I was a young kid. I was 175. I was in shape. And I probably had crushes on us, but um, so I had no problem doing that. And it was my suggestion to David Chase to make my character gay from a book I was reading, and it's the only suggestion he ever took from an actor.
Hmm.
So that changed my life. Now there's some actors that wouldn't do it. They're not probably comfortable with their sexuality, or me. I wanted to challenge my when I got into cooking. I didn't want to learn Italian because I knew Italian. I
Mm.
wanted to be a really, a good chef, really a talented chef. So I wanted to learn something that I wasn't familiar with, which was French cooking. And then I wanted to learn New Orleans cooking. And same thing with acting. Play a wise guy is kind of easy, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I grew up with those guys. I know how they talk, their mannerisms, so on. The acting challenge for me was playing something that I'm totally opposite of.
Mhm.
So I love broads, so um, that's that all had to do with, and plus I want, to prove to the cast, to myself, that I could act.
What was
So,
the book you read?
called Murder Machine, um, by Jerry Capici. Um, a true story about a guy who had a crew in Brooklyn. They were, psychopath crew, did a lot of murdering, and one of the guys in his crew was gay. His name was Vito, actually.
Hmm.
And they let him be because he did, good work. Chopped up people in the bathtub, drained their blood. They had a bar in Brooklyn. They killed them in the bar, bring them upstairs, drain the blood in the bathtub, then chop them up and get rid of them. Yeah.
And at that point, did you give just a simple recommendation to David Chase, or did you go in depth about that character and about that book?
Well, I didn't approach David. I approached one of the writers,
Oh,
you know,
got it.
and I said, look, this is a story. You never see it in mob stuff, and I'd be willing to do it. I think it's kind of interesting. And here's the book. It's a true story. And she took it and didn't say anything. And then a year and a half later, they asked me about it again, and I gave them the book again. And then it came to fruition. So, yeah, I'm glad they did. Now,
Right.
obviously, it's not what I had in mind. When I first suggested it, I was on the wrong end of the blowjob. But I'm glad they made it because they made my character sympathetic.
Yes, they did.
You know,
Yeah, and aside from Vito, as you, Joe, you got to be very comfortable with your sexuality to go along with something like that. Obviously, if someone was on the fence, they would maybe be a little hesitant to play that role. But you
yeah, of
being
course.
you as someone who loves broads, no problem.
Yeah, listen, it wasn't easy. I mean, the biggest fucking thing was my friends are going to break balls,
Yeah,
you
no
know,
doubt.
and they did. Not like I'm a fucking kid from, wants to be an actor and I live in, I'm from Montana or Iowa, and in Hollywood, there's all kinds of shit going on. But, bringing a Brooklyn guy, it's all fucking macho and this and that. And I want to be the next fucking, I don't know, De Niro, Pacino. Although Pacino played, gay and cruising. It was a great movie. Um, Marlon Brando played gay, and Reflections of a Golden Eye, Elizabeth Taylor. Um, yeah, so again, it was a challenge.
You're clearly a movie history buff, which is funny because I noticed in past interviews you claim you're not a big movie person, yet a big TV series person.
Well, neither actually. I mean, those movies I watched when I was younger. I rarely, rarely, rarely watch any movie. I rarely watch. I don't watch any TV. I watch politics and sports. Um, the last good thing I saw was The Offer. That was, to me, was phenomenal. I actually auditioned for it, and I never watch something I don't get, you know. But
Hmm.
Definitely.
that was phenomenal. But just nothing. Although, excuse me, people tell me I got to watch The Bear on Hulu.
Okay.
Um, and that because I never see restaurant shows really portrayed right. But that, yeah, I want to see.
So now you're a personal chef. How long have you been doing that for? And what brings you the most joy in being a personal chef?
I like the personal chef. It's kind of very unique what I do.
Hmm.
I mean, obviously the popularity of the show. It's not like I had a couple of seasons or a couple of scenes or a couple of episodes. I was a major character. And my food, gets reviews, gets rave reviews. Um, I do all the shopping. I spend about 10 hours in the house. I have an assistant. Um, I do a big array of appetizers, the pasta dish, and then the entrees. And then I tell my story, which is kind of unique, and I do a Q&A, take pictures of everybody. So it's not cheap. It's,
Sure.
yeah, it ranges from 140 a person up to 190. But when you break it down, you think about it, it's not for everyone. I have a minimum of 16 people. They pay for the food, they pay my assistant. But, you know, if the gift is for someone that's a big Soprano fan and the people coming big Soprano fans, I mean, no one else is doing that. And that's
Agreed.
what makes it great. So if you hired a celeb to come and have dinner with you at a restaurant, he'd stay for an hour and a half. That would be half the expense. I mean, they're going to sit around and they're in their home, you know. I mean, I've done over 100 of these parties. As a matter of fact, I'm here for like 2 days. I booked one in Tampa for this like millionaire real estate guy who's does YouTube shows. He's got a $35 million home,
I love
which I
it.
saw pictures of it yesterday. Um, and then I'm meeting a couple other guys that want to do it like a political kind of fundraiser. So here in Boca, I think. Yeah, so
Yeah, you're staying
Now,
busy.
when you go to events like this, are you ever putting on an act or you're just being yourself?
no, I'm myself.
Okay. And it's going back to acting. At this point in your life, are you seeking more acting opportunities or that's on the back end?
Well, I filmed something this morning. I'm working on a couple of things. Actually, my book that I wrote, cookbook novel based on my life. Um, the the show isn't going to be about the book itself, but it's called Meals to Die For. We're going to highlight the food and where mobsters like to eat and what they ate and the history of that dish. And inevitably, that person gets killed, like, it happened in real life. Um, I just did a one-man show in the studio in Meisner Park,
Yes.
which went really well, and I plan to do more of those. So I was telling my story, watching video. I had a great intro where I did the one that opened the show in The Sopranos, but I did it in Florida. So we try to mimic what they show. And then to promote that theater show, we did a little skit in an ice cream store that's on my Instagram. And it got such rave reviews. People were like, "Oh, this is great." I mean, it was like I never had anything really go viral. It was like 200,000, you know, seen by 200,000 views.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yes, I said, I'm going to develop a story around it. So that's what we're shooting right now. I'm going to shoot a little sizzle reel and hopefully sell it or put it on YouTube.
Any
Mm.
future with you starting your own podcast?
No, to tell you the truth, um, I rarely do podcasts. I mean, I don't know why the fuck I said yes to you, but uh, I guess because you're a Boca and I was trying to promote the show. I mean, there's some that, I'll do, like there's a sports guy up in Canada. He's a hockey guy I'll do. There was a couple of black guys from, I don't know, Detroit. And there were three of them, but they were really, really, really good. They were really good. They were into the show. They knew the shit. So, but I mean, I get asked to do so many podcasts. And for the most part, it doesn't really serve a purpose. You know what I mean? I've been telling this story now 25 years,
Well,
so. Um,
yeah, but you
but
get that younger generation that's our age to hear the story for the first time, whether it be through our podcast
yeah,
or the
but
short form content.
yeah, but they could pretty much research it or read it. I mean, if they're really going to do that.
Hmm.
Um, um, but it's just they talk about this coming out. I mean, no one really cares, to tell you the truth. I mean, they might find it interesting. I don't know. I don't listen to any podcast. I don't know. It's just one of those things.
No.
It's a new.
I'd rather be playing pickleball or golf. I play pickleball in Boca, Pompano. I mean, I always take my paddles with me.
How's your game?
I got game. I lost 100
Nice.
pounds playing.
Awesome.
I'm like one of those guys, OCD. When I could become obsessed, I want to be good, really good. I was like that with the cooking, like that with the acting, and I want to be like that with golf and pickleball.
And how is your golf game?
Golf is. I mean, I would have started when I was 8 years old, instead of playing hockey. Well, I love hockey, but it's such a game of skill, and one aspect blows up your day. Whether it be the short game, the putting, your drives are going left, right, your second shot, your third shot. If you play, you know what I mean.
We do.
Yeah, so it's and there's so many different factors, variations, wind and rough and this and that. But I walk the course. That's good. I guess how I get my exercise in. I usually go from golf to go play pickle in the morning and then go play pickle again in the afternoon. So I got another 50 pounds to lose.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll keep going. How do you split your time now between New York and South Florida?
Well, for the last 5-6 months, I've always had something to do here. Appearances. I'm my vodka. I get into restaurants. I cook with it. It's made from grapes. Imported from Spain. My pictures on it, so I sign bottles, and that keeps me busy in New York and in Florida.
What is your favorite Italian restaurant down here?
Well, listen, I got a few. I mean, Runway, good friends of mine, 84.
Been there.
Moderano's, Stevie Boy, I love him. He's a unique character,
Mm-hmm.
and it's hard to be original in anything. And what he does is copied all over the country, maybe even the world. Showing the mob movies, playing the music. I don't think many chefs DJ, but he truly loves cooking, and he's there every night. I have another dear friend of mine, Reno's of Boca, close friend. And another chef, his father had one of the most famous restaurants in Manhattan on Mulberry Street. So, yeah, restaurants was like theater, when I was breaking in. Open kitchens, scenes at the bar, people getting dressed, ton of fucking broads,
Yeah, good
That's where it's
stuff.
at.
Well, Joe,
The
so
Lucas is good. Reno's is great. Runway, those four. 388, another one. They're from Long Island. Mateo.
have
Maddie is great.
have you
Yeah.
tried Casa La Aqua in Del Rey?
What's that?
Casa La Aqua in Del Rey, very good.
Yeah, I might have heard of that. Someone had recommended that to me.
It's
It's-
right off Atlantic.
It's in
Really?
like
Is that in Delray, you said?
it's in like a small little house.
In a house?
Yes, delicious.
Did you say it's in Delray?
Yeah, right off Atlantic.
Oh, wow.
It's really terrific.
Yeah.
Really terrific. Yes.
I mean, I like, different stuff. I'm an appetite. I like entree. I like trying different things.
Mm-hmm.
I like sauces. So I like interesting stuff that I haven't tried.
Is there for those listening in South Florida, where would you, Joe Gannascoli, recommend them to go?
Well,
Outside of the restaurants already mentioned.
it's hard to say because I'm trying to watch. I mean, I try not to, eat after 2. But if I have to, I try to eat healthy, which is kind of boring. If you're a chef, everybody wants to feed you. You don't want to say no, but, it's kind of hard. So I'm not really always I mean, my favorite thing is the sushi buffet.
Oh, Ichiyami.
Yeah, is that one right in the Royal Palm?
Yeah, next to Hijinks.
Yeah,
Mm.
hijinks.
That's
Is
the
a
sports
pizza?
bar right next to it.
You sure?
Yeah, Ichiyami. I know it's in Royal Palm, right by the Standard and a few other things.
Right. There's a hygiene. That's a sports bar.
Yeah.
Yes.
Huh. I was
So
just there. I think I was there Sunday or Monday, maybe Monday, yesterday.
that's a good
I mean, they
spot.
try to eat healthy there, just the sashimi without the rice. But
I like all
at
that.
least the fish is good. Yeah, me too.
Well, John, I mean, given where you were peak Vito to now, you said you lost 100 pounds. You look incredible. What was your peak weight while filming Sopranos?
Over 4.
Wow.
I was very active. I worked out. I played ball, and I began involved in restaurants. I had less time to the gym. Was consumed by the work. Again, OCD, and my hips went in the show. That's the way I walked. So as soon as they killed me, I had double hip replacement same
Mm,
day.
same day. Wow.
Yeah, so that wasn't pleasant.
Well, you must be feeling great.
Yeah, I feel really good. I feel good. I feel even better now than I did probably 20 years ago.
Oh,
You know,
congrats.
yeah, I'm playing ball, walking golf. I look forward to it, getting dressed, going out. It's good. It's good. Tinting up, got the smile going.
We can see that. There you go.
Yeah, so, it's good. And I just got to keep going. I got over the winter, put on a few LBs, like 10, 12. I got to get back to my routine. I'm an early riser, 5:30.
Mm-hmm.
Read the paper, drink my coffee, have my cigar, tee off at 7, play pickle at 9:15, and hit the gym. Yeah.
A lot of activity.
Yeah, a lot of activity, want to keep going.
Good for you. Where are you golfing at?
Uh, you know Long Island?
Oh, you go. I know South Florida. I don't know Long Island.
Yeah, I don't play in South Florida. I
Okay.
mean, even at 7 o'clock, it'd be brutal walking the course. And I play 9 holes. Sometimes I'll
Okay.
play 18, but 9 holes I walk, you know. Um, some are like legit 9, some are short 9, but it's 2.5 mile walk with carrying my clubs.
Yep.
And I go play pickle. So
Lovely. Well, maybe you'll be at the Ryder Cup this fall. Yes, at Bethpage Black.
that plays black. I can't say that I will. I don't even go to sporting events. I haven't been to the new Yankee Stadium. I hate that they tore down the old one.
Yeah.
I haven't been to the new Garden. I'm a Ranger fan. I barely go to Giants games. If anything, I'll tailgate, watch the game on TV at the tailgate. My friends go in. I like to have my cigar while I'm watching the game. So,
Can't blame you.
yeah.
Joe, for those listening, they want to book you as their chef. They want to find your vodka. They want to find your book. Where's the best place to do all that? Where can they find you and everything you have going on?
Yeah, it's usually Instagram. They direct message me. Um, Pretty much. And sometimes they want to bullshit and it's like nonsense. And I want to book a party and I weed those guys out. But yeah, Instagram they can always find me.
All right, amazing.
Awesome.
Joe, no, you mentioned you don't do this very often, so we thank you for joining our show. It's been a pleasure. Thanks a lot, man.
Now,
Pleasure, man.
let me ask you. So
Yep.
what do you guys do? Is this your main thing, or you must work?
Yeah, we do real estate here in Boca.
And then we actually
No.
have a family chicken wing restaurant in Bloomington, Indiana. So that's why I'm here in Indiana. It's
Well,
called, yeah.
you're from where were you born?
I was born in
Chicago.
Chicago, but we live in Indiana.
Oh, so you have a chicken wing restaurant, like a Hurricane, but
Similar, it's called
or
Buffalo Louie's. Our dad started it in college. It's been there for 38 years.
whoa, very cool, very cool, very cool. So you're from Chicago?
We were
The
born there,
suburbs.
but we grew up in Munster, Indiana. It's about 20 minutes from Gary, Indiana.
Yeah, what's it called?
Munster.
Munster.
It's right on the border of Indiana and Illinois.
How do you spell that?
Like the cheese.
Munster. No, it's not like the cheese.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no.
It is.
No, Munster.
Yeah, that is like the cheese.
No, there's an E in the cheese. Mu. It's
I don't think
it's
so.
a letter off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Munster, Indiana, about 40 minutes from downtown Chicago.
Hmm.
And now
And
I
how'd you
live in
wind up in
Boca.
Boca?
Just
What was that?
opportunity. We haven't come in here for our entire lives. I knew the area well. I knew a handful of people, and kind of decided to make the move shortly after graduating from college.
What school?
University of Arizona, Tucson.
Very nice. Is that the Wildcats or the
Yeah, Wildcats.
Sun Devils?
Wildcats, absolutely.
Jake Plummer,
That name sounds very familiar. Jake Plummer.
quarterback.
Jake Plummer. You might be a
You
little
guys
before
sports
my
guys?
time. Yeah, we're
Wow.
big sports guys. We're Cubs fans. Cubs, Bears, Chicago sports.
Wait, hold on. I'm going to get to that in a second. You know, Babe Ruth was before my time, but I know how many home runs he did.
That's fair.
I'm a big sports guy. So I threw the first ball out at Wrigley.
Oh,
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and I threw it from the rubber. Lou Piniella was the coach. People in the stands going, "Oh, we never thought you'd make the home plate." You know, meanwhile, I used to pitch. I had an arm.
Yeah.
And the next day, I shot the puck at the Blackhawk game,
Very cool.
which is on YouTube. You could go watch it. Vito shoots the puck, and you know they were playing the Red Wings. It was the last game of the year, and I was there with my friend. I was getting hammered, and between second and third period, they go, "You want to shoot the puck?" I go, "You know, I'm in no shape to shoot the puck." They go, "Oh, come on, it'll be fun." So, you know, it was about 10, 12 people before me shooting the puck. They could barely reach the net. You know, it was from center ice.
Yeah.
So first shot, boom, I nail it, you know? And I'm thinking, oh, that's it. And they turn me around. They go, no, you got to do it again. And at this time, there's only one hole instead of three. And I nailed it again. And the crowd went nuts.
Very cool.
So that was pretty cool. Yeah, that's on YouTube. Vito shoots the puck. I was at the Blackhawk game. Yeah, so I'm an old Blackhawk fan. To me, they got the best jersey in hockey.
Okay. What's any Chicago restaurants you want to shout out?
I used to go to I used to do the old Viagra Triangle there. Gibson's,
Yeah.
Carmine's, and Tavern on Rush,
Yep.
which I think closed.
No, they opened back up.
Oh, they did? Oh, cool.
Yes, they did.
I think I hung. Yeah, after I shot the puck, you know, I was hammered, and I continued to get hammered. I went there, and Vince Vaughn was hanging out,
That's
and
wow.
yeah, that was cool. Yeah, good memories. I love Chicago. I don't know if it's a shithole now, but I mean, in that area, it was good. You know, there's a lot of shitholes, but usually
Yeah.
Democrats. Anyway, all right. So you're a sports fan, yeah? Blackhawks,
Yep.
Bulls, the usual, Cubbies.
Bears.
And the Bears, yeah, the Bears. I would have liked Justin Fields. I would have liked him as a quarterback. Yeah,
He went to the Jets.
I know he did. I hope he does
Yes.
well.
Same.
Yeah, I always make a reference. You know, they said it was like I said, well, it's like being on, you know, what's like being on the Sopranos. It's like being on the 27 Yankees or the 85 Bears. You know, part of history.
Part of history.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, boys. So I thought I'd ask you guys some questions.
Yeah, it was
Hey, well, we
wonderful.
appreciate that. It's nice to be in the opposite end of the question. So thank you for hitting us with some of those. Joe, it was great to meet you. Look forward to keeping in touch, and whenever you go back to New York, safe travels. Wishing you nothing but the best. Appreciate you.
All right, boys. Good luck to you. Keep up the good work, and we'll talk.
So yeah,
You
be
got
well.
it. Thank you.